All right, and we are live with the Two Wheels to Freedom. I guess it's the live show if we're on here. Number 105 with Trevor Vines, one of the pioneers of FMX, and actually the very first FMX rider to have a factory, support ride with, of course, Yamaha. And then, just like I posted that picture, everybody knows Trevor with the Sobe graphics and the big Slater skins, right, Nick?
I love the slated skins. Couldn't put them on a YZ80 though, so it never worked out.
Like always, we're brought to you by Canvas MX. Brand yourself. You can get your own. Trevor, you could get TV Land on your jersey if you wanted. That's canvasmx.com. Also, Stroker Industries. They got fuel nozzles for your gas can so you don't spill all over your graphics. And who else? Who am I forgetting?
He's bailing on us.
Poison. Boyson,
Now I'm right
Hey,
here.
Boyson.com. Get some nice little goodies for your motorcycle. What happened to your camera, Trevor?
I'm hard to sit still. I don't know. Is it
It's black. It just says Trevor Vines. There you go.
go? How about now?
There
My
you go.
camera, my phone's actually smashed. So the front camera that normally would face me, so I
Yep.
could see you guys too, is all. That's what was all fuzzed out earlier, and it's kind of smashed. And I'm getting too old for selfies anyway, so it's
You
fine.
weren't worried about it.
And I spun it around, and you guys are on the backside, but I can't see what I got. So
Oh,
You're
that
good.
sucks.
You're in frame. Oh,
I'm in frame,
you can't see our ugly faces though. Sorry.
blessed with my ugly face.
You must be very disappointed.
I saw you at first, Clint. You're looking good with the earphones on. You look like you were deep in thought, figuring out what was going on.
Yeah, or trying to send it out. I think I was on a Instagram live telling everybody that I think you guys were pooping, and that's where you were, why we weren't live yet. Did you also
Yeah,
have
it
to
takes me
poop?
all day.
Nick is like, I said, "Are you good for 7?" He says, "Yeah," and then he sends me a video or a picture of his pants while he's sitting on the toilet.
Dude, it hit. It just
He's
hit all
ready.
of a sudden. I was like, kidding me, right before the thing.
Drank too much coffee this afternoon.
I just ate a bunch of lasagna and it about put me to bed. So I'm like, I gotta have some coffee.
Yep.
Don't blame the lasagna.
They got me.
So what's up, Trevor? What have you been doing? And you went black again.
Ow. Let me see here. This is giving me grief.
Yeah.
So, not much. I've been just getting my place ready to go for this season. I've had one practice here. We were open a couple weekends ago, and now the world's kind of changing. And I'm not sure. I got some people I think want to come out and ride this weekend, but not sure the protocol on that. But
Yeah.
outdoor activities and stuff, I think, are still okay. Exercise and that type of thing is allowed. Is that? Can you guys see me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back on.
Yep. You're good.
I think my battery was going dead.
Ah.
My phone's got all kinds of issues. But so yeah, just now everybody's on house arrest, kind of quarantine style. I've been able to get a lot of work done around here and clean up and just get things ready for this season. I took a job with Feld actually in January doing monster jams, building courses, helping build the courses, from bringing the dirt in to creating and sculpting everything, keeping it nice for the event, and then load the dirt out, which it's a lot of work. It's definitely way more than we ever did as riders,
Yeah.
but I really dig it. It's a lot of fun too, and running all the new CAD equipment's a dream. Like, it's a pretty fun deal, and to go through all the motions and then be there for the event and see what goes on, like, behind the curtain, and then clean it all up afterward. It's pretty cool, actually. There's a lot to it. Those guys really put a lot of heart into it, so it's fun to be involved on the dirt crew.
And you just used to show up and be like, "Yo, where's catering?"
Where's
And
food? And they're like, you can't even have food because you weren't here all week on this course. So it was like, man, I just want to talk. And and then practice a little bit, and then leave, and then come back the next day.
Yeah.
We didn't. It was an easy gig. it was a little bit of risk, as you know,
Yeah, it was
but
risky, but not as time consuming.
you know, not nearly as time consuming. You still had to be there for a few days, but when we were done riding at 9 o'clock on Saturday, we were loading our bikes up and maybe watching Gravedigger do some donuts and leaving.
Yeah.
And I'm still there the whole time, flipping trucks over or, cleaning things out. And then when the show's done, that's when we really start back to work, moving the dirt out. I was fortunate. I did a bunch of shows at Anaheim. They actually had 5 monster jams in Anaheim. And so we would go back and forth between Anaheim and San Diego. And with the Supercross and all of our monster events, we left the dirt in there for like 2 months. So we didn't have to take it out and put it back in every time. I wasn't in a fresh venue that had a full load in and a full load out every time. So that made it a little bit easier.
How dry was the dirt by the last weekend?
It was super dry. Yeah.
I saw one of the Supercrosses there, and I was like, that dirt's been sitting there for a long ass time because you could tell it was just like starting to.
Yeah, like it's dead. That dirt, a lot of it, like last year when they had all the monsoon rain out there for a month, they had mud events at Anaheim and San Diego all last year, and Anaheim was where they did the lime deal.
Yeah.
And so all that dirt's kind of full of that, lime. And
so it got super dry.
Whatever.
Extra dry.
It's super, especially Southern California. I mean, it didn't rain at all when we were out there. So we would leave and go to San Diego the next weekend and then come back. So we came back like 12 days later or whatever. And yeah, it just cooked. The dirt was white. It just looks like Africa. Yeah. And then you just start over and bring it back.
So you were talking about having races. If people that don't know, you have TV Land, right? Not the TV station. TV Land is a motocross track.
Station. Trevor Vines Dirt Bike Park. Yeah. Somebody thought that was a good idea back in the day, so I went with it and should have probably named it something else. But nonetheless, it's the TV Land MX. I threw an MX in there after it. But I've got a 53-acre motocross park with 4 tracks and a little freestyle area. That when the weather allows, I do either open practices a lot or some sanctioned races. I had an AMA state championship last year. Had almost 500 riders. It was pretty cool weekend. Hectic for sure. Might have bit off a little more than I was ready for, but it happened and it was cool. It was good.
I guess do you live on the property there?
I do.
Okay, cool.
I actually live in a barn.
Yeah, I was looking at all the wood. It's basically all wood there.
Yeah.
Everything that the camera swung around and seen has been pine or something.
Oh, right on. Yeah. A lot of the stuff I did myself, all the construction, and just been a work in progress. I work inside in the winter and outside in the summer. Makes it nice living here, so then I'm not, commuting back and forth or wishing I was somewhere else. I can just be based out of here and then do what I'm doing, and then
you're way more redneck than I would have thought. Did you hear me?
What?
You're way more redneck than I would have thought.
That's what you thought? What'd you say?
No, I said you're way more redneck than I would have thought.
Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Thank you. I don't know about that.
That's just because you had all your stuff together so much when you rode freestyle. Everything. Normally, rednecks aren't that together and have that nice of stuff,
I'm kind of. My stuff's pretty tight here. There's a lot of wood, and it is a little bit. I'm definitely in the country, but yeah.
So you want to talk about the beginning? You were there, and pretty much we started watching basically the first contests and stuff. We watched X Games 2000 What are you drinking? Is that a all day IPA?
It is.
Yeah.
He told me to make sure I had a beer.
That's
So
right. Don't worry. I got tequila and water, and I think he's drinking
Nah.
tea over there or something. Oh, okay.
This and coffee, they pair well.
Just making sure. I want to see what you had.
yeah,
Yeah. So we
I'm
watched.
keeping it light right now. I like to make some beer. I can show you my beer making area.
Yeah.
That might be a little less redneck. See that?
I don't know about that. But yeah.
You don't know about
that.
It's just a moonshine still.
Yeah.
It's totally redneck.
It's
Kind of.
made-
Here, let me show you. I'll take it a little. Here's my.
nice.
Let me see here. Let me get some lights on. Show you my redneck haven here.
Sweet.
So we got. Yep.
Now you're in Ohio.
Yep. This is downstairs.
Damn, that's
Here's
nice.
the residual of my sunset going on right now.
Awesome, dude. Your spot is killer.
Yep. You have to come out sometime, Clint.
Hell yeah.
See how redneck it is.
You got a
Just-
big ass
just a friend
tabletop landing.
Yep. Yeah,
All right.
big one.
All right, I'm in.
I don't know if you've been. Yeah, it's a little too dark.
Yeah, dude. It's
Yeah, you can't get there. It's too dark. So, yeah, let me show you. Let me show you the moonshine still.
all right. See.
This is awesome, dude.
No, I don't do no moonshine, but this is I do make beer over here. And let me get some more lights on here.
What kind of beer are you making?
I make a variety. I make a lot of IPAs because that's what I like to drink. But I make like black stouts or porters.
Nice.
There's my put them in there.
Awesome.
This is
got
all
old soda.
climate control underneath there. I make stuff in there and there, and then stash it for a month and hope it turns out good.
Wow,
Damn,
dude, that's
dude.
a setup right there.
I told
This
you.
is my downstairs.
Trevor
This is my
had his
downstairs redneck
going.
area.
Dude, that's sick. So the whole the house is a barn.
Yeah, it is a barn.
Cool.
The Amish built this barn in 1998, and then I bought it in 2001, and there was nothing in it. So
Sweet.
I started upstairs here. This is the upstairs of my barn. This is
Awesome.
kind of where I live. I don't know if it's kind of dark if you can see it or not, but
Yeah. So that's all. Did they use nails? Those Amish?
they use nails. No, they don't have. They didn't have access to metal.
They made
Yeah,
the
they
wooden
use steel
dowels.
screws and screws. Yep, all that stuff.
I was hoping they'd put wooden
They just because
dowels
they don't
in all
drive doesn't mean they can't get tools and all that goodness.
Takes longer.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's whatever. I'm bizarre. I'm an odd dude, but to live out here,
Oh no, that looks like the dream setup.
Yeah.
Especially for
Are those ponds? Or
yeah.
it's just one
I
big one?
dug these out.
Oh yeah, jeez. How deep are they?
7 to 10 feet.
So is that basically all the dirt for the tracks?
There's another one. There's a big one out back. That's most of the dirt for the track.
Those
These
are the
ones up
small
here,
ponds.
I just did them to kind of for looks and aesthetics in the backyard.
Did you put some fish in there?
Board 'em. Yep.
Sick.
Yeah.
I figured
Stocked
you did.
them. Our county actually, each year we can buy cheap fish in the springtime and stock the ponds. So every year I try to stock them. I have like 10 ponds here on the property. So each year I try to stock a couple of them a little bit heavier. For
Awesome.
the apocalypse, I'll be eating fish.
There you go. What kind of fish did you?
Just kidding.
just
The perch and bass, we fish them. My nephews like to fish them.
dude, if you gotta be stuck inside, you got like the ideal setup.
If I got to be stuck inside, it's not so bad.
Well,
no, you got sweet.
but
sweet
you're
stuff.
far enough away from everybody that you don't have to be stuck inside. You can be on your big ass ranch riding dirt bikes.
Yeah. I mean, riding dirt bikes or driving tractors or riding snowmobile or take off on a street bike. We're allowed to do that right now once it's warm. I've actually been out.
Uh
That's his redneck internet.
oh. Ohio, that's almost flyover state.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty close. It's an imitation one at the very least. It's like a poser flyover state.
Wannabes.
They
Trying to be in the Midwest.
That's right. They want to be the middle of nowhere.
They're too far east. Ohio's fucking nice. Lived out there for a summer.
Where?
In Columbus, right in the middle.
Where he seems.
Everyone's really polite in Ohio.
Aren't they in the noise?
I knew he was gonna bail on us.
That's it.
It's an April Fool's prank. He just was like, yeah.
He wanted to plug TV Land MX, and that was it. Get out of here.
He's like, all right, I'm done. Shut it down.
Did he? Oh, Danny D. Wayne's in here. What up, Danny?
Can you hear me? Is it making weird noise? Because I was setting up my microphone the same way.
No.
Let me check while he's honest.
While he's missing.
Like,
No, sounds good. You're all good.
All right. 'Cause I was setting it up
Right,
like we
Danny?
did last time, but I wasn't thinking that I'm not playing any videos.
You're not?
Well, I can.
Yeah, you should pull up TV videos.
Oh,
Actually,
right.
you're a hard man to find, Trevor. The only fucking pictures I've found just about of you riding are from your website. He's muted. Hold on. Oh, he's connecting
I gotta swap over
audio.
to the other computer.
Hey, am I back now?
Yep, you're back.
Sorry, dude. My phone was. Yep.
When dead?
I got all kinds of excuses. I'm out here redneck heaven. I don't know how to run these things.
If we could do this show on a tractor, you'd be dialed.
I could do it on a tractor. Yep. Yeah.
Fuck.
I got ways to keep my phone charged on the tractor.
There you go. Yeah, dude, you were right in the beginning. We're gonna get into what didn't we do some Blue Torch TV?
We did.
I don't think. Well, Nick and I watched some. I have some that I got transferred from VHS to a hard drive. The ones that were on the tape we watched so far were like the militia ones, but I think the whole other set I have, I think you're in a bunch of them.
Yeah. Blue Torch TV was big back then.
Yeah.
They had some good the ride and slide events. Did you do some of those? Like there was
No.
one in Florida, and
I didn't get to do that. I don't remember what happened, but I never. I know Renner and those guys all wrote it, and I think I have that one on tape too.
Yep.
It just says Trevor Vines again. Your camera turned off. Sorry. What do you got going on, Nick? Oh, TV Land MX.
Trevor, here, you might want to just stay watching if you can see us. What's this Trevor Vines TV Land MX 2017? It's like a promo for your spot.
He disappeared.
Is it too loud?
Yeah, just because of the music. I don't want him to give me shit.
Am I down?
I may have to push those ramps in to hit him, Nick. It's too big.
Bump him up.
Dude.
I'm not too proud.
Has he got a little rhythm section there, or is that just a berm? I think that's a first ramp.
He dipped on us again.
Look, some MX suspension. He needs to load it on whoever else's phone is there. That's what he needs to do. Look at him. He looked over on him, wheelied and cut him off.
I want to see that again.
I mean, the place looks sick. I would love to go out there. Obviously, his house and stuff. That's all cool.
Make a trip.
Yeah.
We'll drink all his homemade beer.
Yeah.
We'll ride his tracks.
Do a podcast right in his man cave.
He'll end up just kicking us out.
kicking you
Where do you
out.
see
'Cause
Danny
you'll be
Dwayne?
He's in the Zoom. He's in Zoom
Oh, the
chat.
Zoom. I forgot about that extra little
See
thing.
Danny Dwayne. I think when y'all Yankees call themselves rednecks, they're kind of being a culture vulture. But but Trevor has a Redneck Heaven set up, so he's good.
He's appropriating Danny's culture.
We're appropriating redneckness. Yo, I don't like it when people with hair shave their heads. That's baldness appropriation. And, there's only a finite amount of girls that are interested in bald guys, and you're just stealing from our talent pool.
Unfair.
Mark Marquez.
Let's see. Mark Marquez. Oh, you're reading the next one?
No. It was just...
Trevor Vines does tricks and backflips.
There
We got to
we go.
find him saying, don't want to bone her out or whatever.
Yeah. That was from that, this is old Monster Jam. Jacksonville. I might be in this. Not shitting you. What year was it from?
I don't know. 240p.
Oh,
Is that when he's factory Yamaha? Look at that. The stuff
maybe.
look dialed right there.
Maybe. I did a winter with him. No, there's Paul Smith and somebody else. Probably Adam Kuzno. I was not at this one. But I do have a good story about, it's just a super short little story about being at a Monster Jam with him.
Save it for when he comes back? Or
Yeah. Because I need to say it in front of him so he gets mad about it. Yeah, we went to, we did a bunch of Monster Jams together, and we also went to Alaska together. There was like 9 of us in Alaska, but he was one of the guys.
Was it a Monster Jam in Alaska?
No, it was some kind of freestyle tour. We did one weekend in Anchorage, and then one weekend in Fairbanks. I think it was Anchorage and then Fairbanks, because Fairbanks is in the middle of nowhere. So we did Anchorage first, and then it was like an 8-hour drive. This is actually a really good story, too, that I don't need to tell without him on. He wasn't there. We wrecked a minivan. He wasn't there for that. He, I guess, was probably being responsible or something. But, so I can tell this part. He obviously knows that the minivan got messed up. So we went to the bar, and then we were on the way back, and I'm in the back, like, wrestling with Michael Gravett, and Winstead is in the passenger seat, and Casey Higgins is driving. And somebody was behind us further in the very back. And, like I said, me and Michael, for some reason, are wrestling, and then I hear Casey from the driver's seat go, "Should we do a donut?" And Winstead's like, of course. So then he goes to cut this donut, and then all of a sudden we feel the thing go boom, ba boom, boom, and we're like, what the hell happened? They're like, no, it's fine. So he like clipped the side of a building, and then yeah, that was slow. He clipped the side of a building, and there was this big ass curb there, and we didn't realize it. So he just pulls, like, it's the parking lot next to the hotel. So he pulls out onto the street, pulls down, and pulls into the hotel parking lot. And we park it, and we all were like, hey, so the story is that, because the one side fender had, like, a little scuff on it. So we're like, the story is we're going to back out of, we backed out of a spot, and there was a pole there, and we clipped the front end with the pole, So we must have been the second room that the guy came to, and he's like, he asks, and we go, oh, we backed that thing, we clipped the pole. He goes, that's what they said in the other room. He's like, a fist-sized hole does not end up in the transmission pan by clipping a pole. And we're just like, what? And he's like, yeah, there's a trail of oil right next door to the next parking lot. So,
at least everybody stuck to the story.
Dude, yeah, we were, you know what I mean? We're a bunch of
What,
kids.
he just reverse drop it or what?
No, when he hit the wall, that curb, He clipped
Oh,
the
tore up
curb with the
underneath?
pan. It hit the pan and put a big hole in it. We
Who
didn't know.
let 4+ freestylers take a vehicle?
You know, we were there
Like,
for like 2 weeks. What were they gonna
oh,
do?
dude, every time it's like the special class or all the kids who get kicked out.
Yo, so they had to drive a trailer up to Fairbanks, pick the with a minivan on it, drop that minivan off, grab our broken down minivan, trailer it all the way back, and then do the transmission. It was like $8,000.
Who, whose van?
A rental.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I thought you could just light those on fire and be done with them.
I don't
Maybe
think they
not
got the
Alaska?
insurance. I'm pretty
You
sure
didn't
they.
have insurance
I'm pretty sure they did not get the insurance.
on a rental
Yeah.
for freestylers.
Yeah.
That's their fault.
That's
They
how I
should have
feel.
rented it
But
to you without insurance.
listen, it still cost me like fucking $800 or something. Like we all chipped into it.
Oh,
I'm like, dude. He goes, I asked you. You guys said okay, and I'm like, that's a stupid statement. Of course we said I'm like, I didn't say shit. I was wrestling in the back seat. I'm like, Jeff said yeah, which you know Jeff's gonna say yeah to this fucking mess.
yeah. The only reason you were asking is so if this happens,
Yeah,
you can go. You said yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Sucks if you weren't a flip rider at that show because then.
None of us were.
Oh
There
shit.
was like I want to say no.
Oh, but then that would have been back when they were paying good.
Well,
Real good,
yeah, but it was
right?
only one guy, and I don't think he was with us. It was me, Higgins. This is a sick little course here he's got.
Yeah.
Me, Higgins, Michael Gravett, Jeff Winstead, and like I said, I can't remember who the hell was in the back seat.
It was me, Clint.
I know you weren't on that damn trip. I would have remembered that. The 8-hour drive in between, like up to Fairbanks, those guys are, I don't really drink that much. So they're all just drinking like crazy. And I'm like, I know this is not going to be fun drinking in the car and having to pee like fucking constantly. So I didn't drink. We were smoking the whole time. So Michael Gravett, they're drinking and drinking and drinking, and Michael Gravett is dipping. He's got a big dip in too, and he's spitting into. He's got like a monster can, and he like popped the top open. So we're sitting there, and all of a sudden I see him start to be like he's gonna throw up. He throws up into the can. He's literally sitting right next to me because we're in a minivan, like so we're like shoulder to shoulder, and I see him like, and all of a sudden he just fills the can up to the top and cuts it off. There's actually video of this in the credits of one of my videos, and he's just going, or it's of him going, I just threw up in this can. I just threw up in this can.
That's some controlled puking right
Oh,
there.
dude, filled it to the top and just clipped it off. It was like hovering, and then he just turns to us. He like swallowed the rest and stopped it, and he's just like,
So-
I threw up in this can.
Was he drinking or smoking, or
Oh,
was he
yeah.
just
Yeah,
straight dipping?
Yeah,
Was his...
all of it.
Huh?
All of it. Yes.
'Cause I'm doing everything you're doing. I'm adding one more to the mix.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really drink, and I don't think I really chewed either. At that, maybe I did, but yeah, that was hilarious.
How old were you?
Probably 2006 or something like that. So like 26. Yeah, 26, 27.
Dude, I'm 7.5 hours from TV land, and you are
A long
7
ass
hours, 6 hours from TV land.
What? Oh yeah, Ohio is in between us. Oh, 6 participants. The Trevor
make
Vines
a
is in here.
trip.
Oh, I haven't allowed Trevor. That's the issue.
He's just sitting there watching us.
He's watching us talk shit about him. I promoted one of them, so there we go. I'm promoting both of the Trevor Vineses. Trevor Vineses. That way, whichever one you're actually
Brilliant.
on. There we go.
Clint's on a real power trip, so he doesn't
There's-
promote people
There's two
all willy
Dannies
nilly.
in there too. Listen, I don't know how to get it so that.
Uh-oh.
Oh, because they got two on next to each other.
Oh.
Which
How's
one
more
the
feminine
camera
this time?
works? I'll delete the other one.
Are you doing that one?
I don't know. Hey, can you guys hear me and see me?
Yeah. Well, we can't see you.
Can't hear
That's
ya.
better anyway. That's better anyway.
Listen,
You got some boner air tricks there.
the-
Loopy loosey. I could hear the whole thing. You were telling that story about Fairbanks and Anchorage. That was
Yeah.
a memorable trip.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
You didn't make any money on that, did you?
No. Very
You got
little.
some good memories, though. You didn't forget about it.
Very little. I was like, I wasn't even driving that damn thing. Like, how the hell did I
You
lose
get stuck with the bill
$800?
without driving.
All right. Uh-oh.
Here we go. I gotta
Wait,
switch the camera. Yeah.
There we go. Turn the other camera on. See if that one works better.
This, can you see this one?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah. How about this? How about this? How about this? There we go.
All right. I'm going to clip the other one.
I got to log on to the Amish guy's internet down the road.
Perfect.
That's how we do it out here.
Ah,
You probably
This is literally like what half the world's doing right now is try to figure out how to stream and how to video chat.
How to use their phones.
Yeah, everybody.
so what I was saying is we did that winter of Monster Jams, and my favorite story about that winter of Monster Jams at Tampa.
got a number in there.
Do you remember this? We were at Tampa, and we were going on to the floor, maybe for I think it was for practice, and you went to clear your bike out, and then you were going too fast, and there was that big tractor at the end of the thing. We had to turn right, and you just tucked the front end and slid underneath the tractor. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that at all.
You
Are you
went
sure?
you went by me like floored to clear your bike out, and then you just go to turn, and it was like the turn come up fast. It was loose as hell, and you just like skirt, the front end just washed on you, slid underneath like a big ass tractor, and I was just like rode by you, just laughing so hard onto the floor.
Like, what are you doing, new guy?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, where'd this guy come from?
He must have just got his bike last week.
Oh, that was good. I laughed so hard. Sorry. Yeah, dude, you're right in between us.
You should come here and do your podcast out here. I heard you guys talking about that.
Yeah.
You're welcome to anytime.
Oh, what did D. Wayne say? He said he has enough
You guys-
land to
You guys
make a
tried
straight
to get into my
rhythm.
beer fridge, but it might hurt you.
Like a raccoon, you won't keep me out.
Like a be laid out in the street.
So how'd you get into freestyle?
Told you we get kicked out.
Nah, you won't get kicked out.
I'm fucking with you.
How'd you get into freestyle? You obviously raced. I saw that you had a flyer card, one of those high flyers or whatever it was, an MX card.
Yeah, I was doing some outdoor nationals that summer that they did those. I think I can't remember the year they had those, but I got hurt a lot racing. I was trying to be, just like we all did, do well at outdoor nationals and qualify for some supercrosses. And I'd get hurt once a year, shattered ankle or broken wrist or broken hand or something, to set you down for a couple months, and kind of past that whole little window of 18 to 23 where you should be doing really well at racing if you're going to do well at racing. And the videos and stuff were a big hit at the time. I actually had a little accessory store, like a little bike shop. I worked in a Honda dealer when I was a kid, and then I worked construction for a couple of years. And a buddy of mine had a little accessory store a state away that he was getting out of. He was going to shift into like Harley stuff. So I bought out what he had and did used bikes and off-road stuff. And we're selling all the crusty videos and all that. And that was real popular at the time. I remember I had a picture of Mike Metzger doing no-footed can on like a Fox ad out in the sand dunes, and it was just the coolest, you know. So it just inspired me to do that stuff. And some of the races that I was doing at the time, they'd have intermission freestyle shows, and I could actually make more money at those than I did at the race. And we didn't even realize that freestyle would take off like it did, but it was just about to pop, and that's when all the contests came about. And you know, there was a few years of, you know, the heyday it was pretty good money, and there were a lot of contests. There were a lot of events to ride. So I tried pretty hard to stay healthy and ride as many as I could for that window of time till I got hurt, blew my shoulder apart and broke my femur, and turned 30 10 days later. So that kind of slowed my life down.
Is that when you decided to slow, you know, like step back, or what? At least from contests?
Yeah, at least from contests and stuff. That was right about when the backflip was happening. So, I mean, the writing was on the wall a little bit. You know, if you weren't ready to step up and do that on a regular basis, take it, you know, anywhere around the world that they wanted to see it, your days were numbered as a freestyle rider.
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel
On the
like
high flyer card, you see that, Clint?
Do you feel like yeah? Do you feel like riding that KTM when you raced was a detriment, or what?
No, I hated that thing. It actually broke my ankle.
That's what I'm saying. They were turds then, weren't they?
It wasn't the best bike, but I got a good deal on them. And yeah, you know how you get. It was actually, you know, the KTM guys were pretty cool back then. They were trying to develop a good product at the time, and it just wasn't on par with the Jap bikes yet.
Yeah,
they're great now. I mean, yeah, I mean, everybody knows the story and how they've progressed and where they're at in the world now. But yeah, back in that year, they weren't that good.
How long? Like, were there a bunch of people racing them, or probably not really?
Not really. I think what a couple of the outdoor nationals I did on a KTM, like Mike Fisher, and obviously he was really good. He was like number 14, national number 14. I think like Cliff Palmer and maybe me. And I was kind of new and young, and I had a 125 and a 250, and the 250 wasn't as bad. The 125, it wasn't very good. It had false neutrals and other issues that it wasn't a CR 125.
Yeah, for sure. And then you were the first person, pretty much the first guy to ride freestyle on a 4-stroke. Right?
Yeah, me, Sean Hyde, I think, had one. Yeah, I happened to have a 4-stroke when Yamaha came out with the YZ400. I happened to have one. I was doing a lot of stuff with Pro Action at the time as far as test riding, and they made it into a 420, and I was just going to race. I did a couple of 4-stroke nationals and some of the indoor stuff, and I just happened to have that bike, and it really wasn't that much heavier. It was a little bit heavier than a 252 stroke, but it just happened to be what I was on at the time when 1998 unfolded like it did.
Yeah, that was cool. You were right off the bat with that. And then how'd you end up doing the Yamaha deal? I think you had told me this, but this is like 100 years ago and not everybody else knows.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of test riding for Dirt Rider magazine at the time, and that was pretty fun. It didn't pay a lot, but it was fun, and I got to ride a lot of different bikes. Terry Beal from Yamaha would come out to the test session sometimes, and I knew how that stuff worked as far as like all the factories would give Dirt Rider machines and then get them back at the end of the year. And my bikes were going to different events, as you know, to freestyle events across the country. So I would be sitting at home without a machine sometimes for a week or two in between events. And I asked Terry Beal, I said, hey man, how about, can I get one of those, like, you know, loaner bikes or whatever they were at the time? You know, I wasn't that picky. I would have taken kind of anything, something the magazines turned back in. I mean, they were all pretty fresh. And Terry's like, yeah, let me see what I can do. And within a few weeks, it went from that to a full-blown factory ride, which I never really expected or anticipated at the time. But Uh, in fact, I thought for sure he kind of forgot about me, and I was just looking for anything, just some help, just a loaner bike, and it turned into here's a couple bikes and a little bit of a salary, and here's the Yamaha book. You tell us what you need out of it, and it turned into a great deal. There was more to it than just that, but yeah, there was a few cool years of a lot of fun and a lot of doors opened. And
Yeah, I mean, you definitely set the tone for professionalism in FMX, I would say, at that point, for sure. Because at that point, we were all just friggin' running around like maniacs.
it was kind of easy, Yeah, like you said, a lot of people were running around like maniacs. You had the Metal Militia, was a pretty good example of how not to act if you want to get free stuff. And, um, we were getting on television. The X Games was popular, and so to be in that stuff and to be doing the number of events we were doing in front of the crowds that the IFMA contest would bring, or the Gravity Games, or any of the different contests and shows we did, you were there for a lot of them, Clint. Like, they were pulling legit numbers, and when you can tell the guys at Yamaha that this is what we're doing, I mean, they're helping guys at Arena Cross. Why wouldn't they help somebody at our level in something as new as what we were doing at the time?
And like,
so it was a good fit for everybody.
Yeah, and Arena Cross, you're still, unless you're winning, you're still on the track with all those people. But freestyle, we pretty much at one point during the night got on the floor all by ourselves.
With the announcers talking about it.
Yeah.
And, just they had to, they filled 2 minutes. Out there a few times. If you made it through the qualifier and then the main event, you're out there a few times by yourself. And that definitely was huge as far as sponsorship potential.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see what Danny D. Wayne has to say. Was Trevor with Yamaha when Nate Adams was riding with them? I think you were already out of the contest scene, weren't you?
Yeah, that's when I broke my femur, and I rode for another season with Yamaha, and then Nate and Tommy Clowers, I think, kind of absorbed my ride, which I was happy kind of at the time to just relieve the pressure of competing at that level. Once I broke my femur, the will to roll the dice as hard as you needed to at those big events was kind of gone.
Yeah.
So I was fake it, and just trying to get there, and I still tried to do my best, but it was really hard to just let it, get your nutsack out and go.
That's why after this last injury, I was like, you know what? We ain't going to be like.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, it's hard to mentally. It's tough sometimes to come back from a major injury as it is physically.
Yeah.
The physical part's a lot of times easier. It's not easy. Femur and a blown out shoulder. That was a good 4 months before. Yeah. I could timidly ride, and then my head was. It was hard to get. Real deep into it. And ride as loose as you need to.
Yeah, it takes a while definitely to get it back, and a lot of times you get to a point, like I said, at the end. I mean, and I've been hurt pretty badly before that one, and I was like, and I came back, and then I got hurt bad again, and I was just kind of like, I'm over it.
Yeah, it takes the fun right out of it.
Yeah.
And if your brain's out of it, that's when you're going to go and get hurt again, or at least you start thinking about it too much.
Yeah, once you start thinking about it, that's the hard part. My best events were the ones, I think it was so funny that whatever you had where I was talking about boner airs.
Yeah.
On Facebook. I don't know where you found that. That's funny. I was young.
That was the 2000 Vans Triple Crown.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah, I've been trying to get you on here for a while, right? We've gone back and forth like a handful of times, and scheduling just hasn't worked.
Yeah, I apologize for that. When I was out west, it was hard with being on the dirt crew. Like, a lot of time, I was supposed to be in Santa Clara this week building a Monster Jam course, but obviously all that got shut. I was going to go do my first Supercross at Foxborough. I was kind of pumped on that.
Oh, I was gonna go
on the dirt. Anyway,
if you end
and,
up if
all
you
that stuff flipped.
you end up northeast. Let me know because I'll come to whatever Massachusetts or Jersey. They should do Jersey next year, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm right here.
that's cool. Yeah, a lot of times, and that's why I had to kind of tell you no a few weeks ago, is because I don't know what we're doing. A lot of times we go in there, we might, depending on the weather, we might put in a 12-hour, 14-hour day. We might work an 8-hour day, and I'm kind of new on the roster, so I'm definitely just going along, and I'm not calling when we're done, or
Yeah.
we have a 7:30, 8 o'clock call time, and maybe we're done at 5, maybe we're done at 8, and it's hard to count on. Again, a lot of it's dependent on the weather. A lot of times we were done building on Thursday, and we just kind of had to sit around and babysit the course and make sure it was fresh every time they went out. Some trucks would flip over and smash the jackrabbits, and we'd have to fix them up, and easy stuff.
What the hell's a jackrabbit?
That's like
good.
a little booter, a little real steep, like a 5-foot tall booter with some cars in it.
Got it.
Maybe it doesn't have cars in it, but it's when we build them, they're kind of exact and they're real perfect, and we get them pretty nice. And then when a truck smashes into it, you can fix it, but it's tougher. It's like trying to pack dry dirt into dry dirt.
Oh, that always works well.
Yeah, it always works real nice. You can make it just like the first time.
Is Tim your boss? Do you got to listen to Tim?
Tim's kind of like my boss. He definitely gave me a lot of tips. It was good to have Tim. He was my roommate too, so yeah, I took tons of advice from Tim.
Did he get moody at any point?
Not too much. He's pretty tough to get moody. He's a pretty happy-go-lucky. He doesn't care about a whole lot. He does a great job, obviously. He's a great operator.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty hard to get him worked up.
For anybody that doesn't know, Tim, we're talking about Tim Boca. He runs Youngstown MX in Youngstown, Ohio. You're not even that close to there, are you? How far are you from Youngstown?
Like an hour.
Oh,
40,
really?
50 minutes. Yeah, I go down there and ride often. He's got a fun track.
Yeah. I actually went out there probably maybe last summer or the summer before. Went out there and rode a little bit.
You guys should come ride them both. You guys should come here. You guys are welcome to stay here.
I didn't realize you were so close there. I thought you were like further out Ohio, but
No, I'm an hour north of him. Not quite, but yeah. You can come here. We can do a couple days of riding here.
Yeah.
Shoot your podcast, and then we'll go down and ride at Tim's whenever night. He preps his track usually once a week.
Yep. For like Wednesdays or something, I think.
Yeah.
They're starting to say that they're gonna have the last 7 Supercross races. Do you know? Have you heard anything?
I haven't. I think that's hopeful, and
Yeah.
I think there's a good chance that they're going to do something like that, but I don't think any of us know what's going to go on.
Yeah.
2
They don't
weeks
want to
from now.
return all that ticket money. They're like, shit.
So, that's the thing about having events. That's why I'm not trying to have events, and I'm going to work for somebody that has events, so that I just have to worry about what I'm doing, and not what happens when it rains or when the world shuts down, and you have to,
Yep.
adjust everything for reasons that were very unforeseen, and no one. Who would have ever saw this coming?
Well, I hear people being like, "Oh, I'm not getting paid," or this or that, and I'm like, "Yeah, neither is your company."
Nobody is.
Like, how are they going to continue to pay you if they're not operating? Like, that's an obvious statement.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, you can't even be. Nobody can blame anybody at this point.
Yeah.
It's just we're all on the same ride. We got to play the hand we're dealt right now.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys have a video or something? I can come back in like 2 minutes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll be right back. Sorry.
All right. No worries.
He didn't get it all out the first time. Let's see.
What are you pulling up videos?
Yeah. Well, here, I'm going to pull this up real quick.
I'm trying to get on going.
We're not far. That's me. Look at You're close. We're almost. You're probably a little closer.
Well, yeah, what you said time-wise, you were 640 and I was 6 or something. But I know how far, I thought Youngstown was further than that, but...
Who knows which way he's going? Youngstown's right there. Just south of him.
Yeah, that's what he said.
It's 640, but I add like 5 P breaks, so it'll be all a 7.5.
And 80, see how Youngstown's on 80? I live a mile off of 80. So
I go just a half hour north and I hit 80, and that's how we get around to most of our shit stuff.
Well, if you just drove that east almost till the very end, you'd hit me.
One time I was going to Ohio to go to a Gary Semek's class,
Yep.
and me and my buddy missed this exit right here, and we ended up somewhere or this exit. We ended up in Michigan before we realized we had to turn all the way back around. We made it.
Dude,
I don't know where that was.
I've definitely missed an exit and driven for like 2 hours before I realized I drove 2 hours and then it was like, oh, fuck, I was going the wrong way. I had to turn around in the box
There's
van.
so much more.
Yeah, in the box van. That's like 4 hours. That's like a $30 mess up in fuel.
That's 4 hours plus the 2 hours you didn't make down the road.
Yeah.
You know? Let's see what we got on Trevor here.
All right, am I back?
Oh,
You're
shit, that was
back.
quick.
Sorry.
No worries.
So yeah,
What was your favorite contest you ever did? Like
Oh, no, that's a
course-wise
tough
or
one.
whatever. Like course. What was the best course you ever rode?
the best course.
You were in the day
Um,
of really good courses too.
There was a couple. I would say so. The Blue Torch. We did one in Florida that had these were all dirt back at the time, and they made this like the biggest jump was like 110 foot, but they had these little ponds, and you had to like jump over like a little river. Like you couldn't roll it. There was no checking it out. It was just over this big lake, you know, that they dug out and created all the dirt. That was a pretty cool one. There was one in Guthrie, Oklahoma that had it was an IFMA. It was a big wide open floor, and it had like a 6-pack as a return line. Instead, you know how we used to have like 3 ramps sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, this had like a double. The centered one was 2 big doubles. There was 2 doubles on the one side and then a 6-pack on the other side. That one was pretty cool. I remember showing up late to that, not to whatever, but and like I kind of missed practice, but I was still going to get a practice and to watch was all I really got to do to judge everything. And I went out and just jumped everything and had a clean practice and ended up winning that night on Friday. I think I got 2nd or 3rd on Saturday, and it was like in Kenny Bartram's backyard. I beat Kenny that night, like coming off the airplane, just kind of like Clifford, Tommy Clowers, Mad Mike. They were all there. Nate Adams. I got pretty lucky a few times back in the day, but I did get a couple W's around those guys. But that was a good course. The early Gravity Games courses were all fun. They were all dirt. All the dirt ones. That was the best for me. I did better when it was more dirt and things would get rutted up and maybe a little bit rough. Than when it turned into just ramp after ramp after ramp. The reason I did better was because sometimes I'd still be able to get my tricks off, and other guys would blow one, you know, because if there was a rut or whatever, and then that would help level the score, and that's why I'd wind up doing a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree. I think I've said that before. Like if contests, like in the very beginning, were more on natural terrain stuff or something or dirt, I probably would have done better than ramp to ramp as well. Just from, you know, after a while when we got to a point, especially when the younger guys were coming in that didn't have the amount of racing experience and stuff, and sometimes the dirt got tricky and they had a little trouble.
Yeah, you had a racing background too, so yeah, you could tell the difference between, you know, coming out of a corner. If you made a little bit of a mistake, you could make up for it with some clutch and, you know, maybe move over. A lot of the times it would get rutted. You just move over one tire width and you got a brand new line. And yeah, that stuff that was eliminated with ramps.
Yeah, and you got to a point like in our time, in the beginning especially, everyone had raced, and then it got to a point where it was like a lot of guys just grew up wanting to ride ramps, which is fine, but I think that racing and dealing with things coming up so fast, as they do in racing, is a super valuable skill. A lot of these guys ride ramps and they never get into trouble. And the first time they get into trouble, they clip the top of a 12-foot landing and it's face first to the bottom, and it's
Yeah,
like,
right. Yeah. If you case some triple jumps, you'd have been a little bit better at maybe absorbing that or
exactly.
bouncing to the bottom and riding out of it.
No, to
I had a
give
few
it,
of those.
sometimes you land up top and it would be counterintuitive, but you got to drag your brake when you land to try and like set you down so you don't just bounce off of the thing. And those are all things that you're
Yeah.
never going to learn, except for years of experience.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, pin it, hold the thing wide open as you're bouncing off the top, so that it doesn't just pogo you all the way to the bottom.
Exactly. Yep. So what do you? Well, I guess you're tentative until you figure out what's going on here with the track.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think I'm doing anything here this spring. All the Feld stuff's. I mean, things just keep getting pushed every 2 weeks. It's further and further off. Hard to say what's going to happen.
Are you going to do races at your track, or you're basically over that? You're just doing.
I didn't sign up for any this year. This is the first year in like 15 years I haven't had any sanctioned races. But I don't know. I'm kind of over it. It's with the weather and just the orchestration of all the people that it takes to make a good event come off it takes a lot, and then you're gambling on the weather. And 20 years ago, people didn't have phones in their pockets with the weather apps, and they weren't riding $10,000 four strokes, and a mud day at the races was just another day at the races. And some people didn't ride, but most of them did. Now nobody's even coming hardly, and then the ones that do, there'll be a few, but it's hard on their machines, and you can't blame them for not wanting to do it. And then it's hard on the whole staff, and hard on me, and the financial situation of it. And that's if it goes bad, which it's a gamble around here. I'd rather it's easier for me to, if the weather's nice, I can do practice. It's me and a couple people, and we get the track pretty good and keep it good for 5 or 6 hours. The bigger race day you have, like I had 480 last year for that AMA race, and we started at 8 in the morning and we weren't done till 6 something at night. And the last couple hours of the day, it was hot and dry, and it's hard to keep the track really good all day long like that. So I don't know. I just, for the equipment I have and the staff I have, it's easier to just kind of step back and do practice. A little more enjoyable for me.
Yeah. Less stressful.
Less stress.
What's the turnout like on a good weekend? I mean, is it?
Yeah, I get a little over 100 riders for a practice day.
That sounds like a good little day.
Yeah.
Not bad. Some days it's, it depends on how often I've been open, and, you get into the summer and it might be half of that depending on what else going on. If guys have been out riding a lot, but sometimes it might be 150 in the springtime when everybody's itching to ride and you get a nice day. So, and you have to stop, which is good. If I have to split practice into 3 groups, that's a busy day, and it's better than having a real job. It keeps me from going and punching a clock somewhere. I don't mind punching the clock for Feld and doing, I don't punch a clock for him, but you know what I mean? Kind of report to duty and be there through the whole, no matter what it takes till it's over type deal. But that's kind of fun. And again, to do it on great equipment where it's a big show, but the responsibility is not all on me. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, for sure. No, and I agree with you. I like jobs where it's like a task oriented. hey, this is what we got to do. Make this event. This is the date. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Let's hustle
Yep.
and make it happen. And then you take a little break after that. I don't like the like every fucking day, like all day long.
Yeah, right. No, that's definitely less fun, and then something repetitive would be. I'd probably want to bullet to the temple if I had to do the same thing 7 o'clock to 4 every day, every day, every day.
Yeah.
That's not fun for me.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff I do around here isn't fun for me. I'm not a big fan of maintenance on equipment, and a lot of it I have to do, and whatever. You just do it.
Yeah.
But I like running the tractors. I like driving the water trucks. I like creating and building, probably more than anything. But a lot of times it's just keep the grass cut, keep the, I'm weed eating. I'm doing all kinds of redneck stuff. You'd probably be shocked that I'm doing.
I don't mind cutting. Here's the thing. I only, like, really, we were only around each other, like, not like a super, big amount, I wouldn't say.
Probably a dozen events or so, maybe a couple more.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, like, the of what I knew of you, like I said, as far as looks, all your shit was always very clean. And normally, like, when I think redneck, I think of, like, Ed Rossi. Do you know Ed Rossi?
I kind of don't. I know his name.
With the mohawk on his helmet? Who do you know? Good. Cody Kavanaugh?
Yep.
Yeah, he's a fucking redneck. Like, you could tell by his motorcycle.
Well, I was still a racer, so I came from the background of, try to keep it clean, try to keep it looking good. I wanted to be sweet. I mean, who doesn't, right? I mean, sort of. You can.
One year I just made the ugliest bike I could just because everybody's bike already looked better. So I'm like, I'm just going to go completely the other way. But that was a bad idea.
Well, and yeah. Well, when I first started on that 4-stroke, I turned the whole thing black and put some Harley stickers on it for a couple weekends. This was before I had anything to do with Yamaha. This was when I bought the thing. But in 1998, that's when that bike came out. So if I'd go to a fairgrounds and we'd have a race, this is a funny story how I kind of got sucked into Pace FMX Pace wasn't FMX, it was Pace Motorsports, right? That was Feld.
Yep.
They go back through like Clear Channel and
SFX. Yep. Live Nation.
All the Live Nation.
Yep.
And Pace SRO was one of their first names. Well, I would go to a fairground and race, but when, came time to jump, if I'm doing a heel clicker on a black bike that easily sounds different, it's a 4-stroke versus the 2-strokes. And the 4-stroke thing wasn't as obvious as it is now. Everybody kind of knows now, but, your grandpa's up there going, dude, that's a Harley. You can hear it.
Yeah.
It sounds different, right?
I've heard people come up and ask you about the diesel bike.
Got the diesel bike, and if they're putting $800 or $1,000 up for a jump contest, and I can get a heel clicker off over jumping the double out, that's on the grandstand, the main one. They, how fair races were. They're pretty small tracks, and they maybe have a big double.
Yeah, exactly.
Just over jump it, get a heel clicker off, point at the crowd. Like, there weren't too many tricks at the time. But, bounce the thing off the rev limiter and make it sound different. And it's black and it's a Harley, like, I won their hearts pretty easy. And it makes a little bit extra money. And it was just funny at the time. And Roy Jansen called the local Harley dealer. Do you know who Rob Vitus is?
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
He announces some outdoor nationals.
And does the pit bike stuff.
He's pretty heavy in the industry. Street and off-road wise, but anyhow, he worked at the Harley dealer at the time, and Roy Jansen called him and says, "Hey, who do you have on a Harley Davidson that's doing heel clickers?" And he kind of had to let the cat out of the bag and tell him, "No, this is a buddy that has a new Yamaha 4-stroke and blah blah blah." And he's like, "Well, that'd be great. I'd like to have him come and do some early Monster Jam events." And that's kind of how I got in with John Sigismundi and Pace at the time. And then I did a lot of events for him, and that was a couple years before the IFMAs even started.
You were doing South Florida and stuff like that for Monster Jam, and I was doing the Northeast at the time. I was doing like Massachusetts and New Hampshire and shit like that.
Yep. Yeah, those were fun times.
Those ramps were kind of weird though.
Yeah, we didn't have it figured out yet. They were like a 4-foot kicker.
Yeah. And they were like, did you guys have one with the wings put on it for the quads?
Yes.
Yeah, they like bolted these wings on. They made the ramp and then they like bolted these wings to the outside because they had quads on it. But like,
I would never go out that wide. I didn't trust those wings.
The ramp was so like weird. If you like leaned forward a teeny bit, you'd nosedive like crazy, and then if you were like back just a little bit, you were looped out. Like they were just super inconsistent. It was weird.
Yeah, that was I guess I'd probably just remember the good stuff, the nostalgia of how, all it took was 5 or 6 tricks to keep everybody entertained and happy, and the competition wasn't too thick. But yeah, the jumps did kind of suck back then a little bit. We came away with figuring out that stuff.
One of our listeners, John, asked if you invented any tricks. You'd invent the sterilizer, didn't you?
Nah, Cliffy did it first. Clifford out of Ponte did that like a week before I did. I was going to do it because like Stink Mars and I think Clifford, they would land with 1 foot up there. And I'm like, I'm going to land with 2 feet up there. And Clifford did it first. And then I did it. And then we kind of did that for a while. There weren't too many people doing it. Then there were a few kids. I really didn't invent anything. I think I did a McMets and landed it no hands first, but I don't know if that really counts as inventing anything.
You invented the hose grab.
The hose grab. I did. I guess I did. Well, that was just an Indian Air. And it was easier for me to make it look a little bit bigger because, you're grabbing like 6 inches higher up and a little bit further back. And so it kind of gets you off the bike a little bit more.
I'm going to edit that out because you said the hose grab and you're like, it makes it look a little bigger. You just grab it a little further back.
The hose grab.
This sounded wrong.
That's just some 39 cents a foot radiator hose.
Oh, I know. I seen it.
Better edit that out too.
Because Travis had that steel bar or something, and I'm like, that is a horrible idea. You're just gonna.
I think that's Travis Pastrana had a steel bar. He had a couple of them back there, like TIG welded on.
Exactly,
like a whole cage.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a horrible idea. You're just gonna ruin your taint if you over jump or something, end up on the back of the bike. He blew his taint out.
He could have, easy.
That's what was fun about back in the day. People were still cutting fenders, cutting seats. It's like everybody was figuring out.
I was going to ask that.
Need?
You never cut fenders, did you?
Yeah. There were definitely some. We were trying all kinds of different stuff. It made a difference back then. Like if you got a 5th or if you got a 2nd at any of those IFMA contests, like that would make a $500 or $800 difference in your paycheck.
Yeah.
So it paid to try hard and be creative and be, sometimes there was a 1/10 of a point between riders and the judges. The whole criteria was new and they were still discovering like what was what. I mean, that was it was a different time. Being creative, it might have bumped me up a place or two a couple times. And again, that might be $200 a place. So,
yeah, worth it.
Like the when you rode with the earpiece, how much did that help?
Yeah, how many times you did that at that Vans Triple Crown? You ever do it again?
Yeah, no, it did. It didn't. It didn't really help. A couple times it just kind of messed me up. But you know what it did was back then when we had that's when the courses were being condensed. And so now we were back to like 3 ramps or maybe 4 ramps, but so you're just going to go back and forth, and you're going to do 4 jumps off of this ramp, 8 jumps off of that ramp, and 4 jumps off of this ramp in an arena. And for sure, if you repeat a trick, you know what that is. You know, you're going to get a demerit for that. If you miss the trick, that's gonna cost you a little bit. So if you can put together, in a 2-minute run, we had 16 or 18 jumps that we could get off in 2 minutes. So they all had to be different. They all had to be good. If you have to think about it, I mean, you remember how tight those courses were. By the time you come out of the corner, you're at the ramp. So if you're really thinking hard, it's probably not gonna flow like it could. I went from my sponsor at the time, HJC Helmets. They had those, whatever they were called. It was called Chatterbox, I think is what it was. And they gave me one to use. And it worked a little bit, having your buddy tell you, what to do next. But eventually I graduated from that pretty quick and just started memorizing my run.
Yeah.
And it sounds weird, but that made a big difference. And I would get to an event and just pound into my head, just go over it and over it and over it like a comedian or anybody doing.
Well, that's what I was saying. I do that now with sets, but I never did that with runs. I would go over them twice and look at.
I think it helped me at the time because I was doing it probably a little earlier than a lot of people, and they probably thought I was pretty goofy, but I had solid runs. If I could memorize what I was doing, some of the jumps, it felt like, a double grab might come easier off this, or the judges are a little closer, so I'm going to do an Indian air toward them over here. And then you put all that together. I would write them all down. I have notebooks still from back when I did contests. Nice. I would get there and we'd have practice, and I'd figure out what I was going to do, and then I would just go and sit and just try to memorize it as hard as I could. It made a difference. It actually did help. But the chatterbox thing, somebody telling me what to do, that was a stepping stone toward learning how to do that, discovering that it was kind of necessary.
Well,
and like now, like they don't have 2-minute runs anymore, but Tom Pages knows what he's doing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Easily see that he definitely knows what's coming next, and he goes and crushes it. So.
Well, even like you were saying, people are so close, tenths of points. I had my runs on my bar, but so in those IFMAs, they were really tight, so you had to land, slow down so slow, and try to figure out where you were. And it could end up being an extra jump by the end of it.
And I would get an extra jump on guys that did that. Mad Mike wrote his down, and I could see him looking down. And when he was looking down, I was trying to race into the corner.
Yeah.
And it did. It made a difference back then for me. I needed every edge I could get. I wasn't probably a top 3 rider. I probably was barely in the top 5. I was a 5 to 10 rider maybe. But being able to do that and put some of those things together, and if those guys if Tommy Clowers or Mad Mike made a mistake, that's when the judging went my way a little bit.
You got to be there to, you got to be right there to take advantage of that stuff.
Yep. It helped me at the time. I had good motivation. Being the Yamaha thing, was I the most deserving of that at the time? Probably not, but I got it, and so it definitely gave me some motivation to practice more and try to learn more tricks. I tried to learn every trick, but some of the stuff, like I could never do a KOD like Mad Mike.
Me either.
Do some of the tricks, I could do a sterilizer, but some tricks I think were easier for some riders than other tricks. Everybody had a little bit of that going on.
Yeah, I've had things that I learned, like Lazy Boys. I learned them in like 5 hits. And then I know people that could do KOD flips and are like, I can't do a Lazy Boy. And I'm like, you can't get any closer to your motorcycle. How can you not do that?
Yeah, right? I can't do a Lazy Boy flip. I can't do any flip tricks.
Well, I meant
I
just a
didn't-
regular lazy boy. I was saying they could do a super flip, and then they're like, I can't do a lazy boy. And I'm like,
Oh, right. I
that's
gotcha.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I've had people say that they're like, I want to learn lazy boy so bad, and I'm like, that seems silly with all the tricks you do that you cannot do a lazy boy.
Yeah, come on out here. You and I will teach them in an afternoon.
Yeah, easy, Nick.
Do it.
Nick,
We'll
you
do that
ever
on
do
the
lazy
podcast.
boys?
I need to learn lazy boys.
Did you? All right, easy.
Okay. I got 3 ramps. I got a super kicker. I've got an old X Games ramp that's set up kind of close. It's pretty easy.
Oh, we watch your videos.
Yeah, and I got a free ride ramp. I think I might have a little different course than from the video. I've been growing onto it.
Oh,
It's got
yeah.
that rhythm section, and then now there's like 2 in a row after it.
Nice.
Maybe, I don't know. I only caught some of that, but
Still waiting on a one-handed or no-handed sterilizers. I actually did a no-handed sterilizer off of like a 10-foot double once, and one time I did it like 2 times. I would wrap my legs under the bars kind of, so my bars were stuck in my knees, and I landed and I kind of went sideways, and luckily the front end dug and like stood me up, but I was for sure about to crash. So I was like, yeah, I don't think that's a good idea.
I thought you were going to say you suctioned your asshole to the seat or something. I don't know how you'd even do no-handed sterilizer.
I wrapped my knees around like
I was gonna call bullshit right off the bat.
no, it was on this like 10-foot double in Florida, and like I said, I did it probably twice, and then the second time I squirreled out and for sure thought I was going down, and it like stood itself up. The front happened to dig, and I was like, all right, I'm not doing that.
He's like, I swear, but no one was there, but it did happen.
It did happen.
I believe you.
Somebody was there. I don't remember.
I believe for a second.
Yeah, that's a good trick. People didn't even care about the sterilizer once the backflip came out.
No.
And there's way more people doing backflips than there are sterilizers. But
That's true. Or no-handed landers even.
no-hand landers kind of fell away too lately.
Yeah, because listen, it could go south very quickly, and you have no control of that. The next thing you know, you're just on your
there's
face.
no doubt.
Here, I got a video of me almost ripping off an ass cheek, fucking up on a sterilizer.
Yep, that's happened.
Dude, it was just a little one too. It just bounced and then
Yep.
to like rock hard dirt. But I was the little Grom watching you guys. I'm like, I can do a sterilizer.
See what you did?
And then I was like, okay, I don't need to fucking do a sterilizer. Everyone's over him.
I did a couple, and I was like, this is too, this can get out of control really fast. I'm not going to do this. And then people started flipping, and like you said, it didn't matter.
Then it was all about that.
Which I was a little bit late to that party, but
There were a couple years there early on where if you had like a flip and a one-handed flip and like a baby knack flip, you would smoke a double grab and a sterilizer and a McMets and all. Like it didn't even matter. There were kids that didn't really have any tricks but could flip, and they would come and start to get paid more than us, and that kind of was, that was
frustrating.
there's the door over there, dude.
yeah.
A little bit of a sign that probably need to find something better to do.
Yeah, a lot of them, a lot of guys came in and learned to flip early and then did still progress, but there was also guys that came in and learned to flip, and that was the only thing, and then they just exited as well.
Yeah.
Or like the people learned to flip but didn't get it down super well, so then once they started going to different setups and setup was different, then all of a sudden they were having issues with it.
For sure, if it get a little bit slick or get an arena.
Yeah.
Then we had a couple years there around that time when they took the dirt out. Remember that?
Yes.
And we did a lot of concrete floors. That sucked. I hated that.
Yeah.
That made me just want to quit. Like between that and foam pits, when they were like, we're going to pour some Coca-Cola on the floor. You guys be ready to practice here in about a half hour. When it gets sticky, I was like, nah, I don't think I'm really having that much fun anymore.
Yeah. It got slippery fast there. All
It
right.
just wasn't even fun, Like if you overjumped and they'd slide into the dashers and blowing wheels out and just, yeah.
Oh, I remember. Was the first. This is funny that I just remembered this now. Was the first metal ramp you ever hit my box fan?
No. No, I did the Warp Tour, and we had metal ramps on the Warp Tour, metal and wood. But I do remember that, and I overjumped somewhere back east in New York or somewhere.
Yep, exactly.
You guys had kind of maybe set up a little bit small because you had a smaller landing, and then I think it just had like
it was a small
expanded
landing.
metal so you could see through the takeoff.
Yep.
And that was a bit of a trip. And then I didn't want to eat the front of the van. That was before airbags. And I probably went a little bit long, and I think I blew my wheel out. I think I brought Renner a bike.
Yeah.
So I used his wheel, and I blew his wheel out. So me and Renner had to sit it out.
The two names.
Promoter. He was like, dude.
The two names.
Top guy, you know, and I was like, sorry, man.
The rest of us are nobody. Nobody gives a shit. The two guys that anybody came to see. Trevor just takes both of them out, like just in practice. I'm just like,
two front wheels out.
Yeah, I'm like, practice. Now that we just got
the only time I hit it too, like I hit it once, blew the wheel out, hit it again, blew another wheel out. I'm like, yeah. Well, you know Travis Willis, right?
Yeah.
So he was just on some of the monster jams. He's down there. He's doing some work for Feld in the merch areas and stuff. He's a cool guy. Do you remember? Did you do the DeLand?
Yes.
Outside Daytona there. Yep. Did you do that? Did you do both years?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, the first year was really good, and that's the year he was involved. And then the second year, like I don't know. I just saw him this winter, and he brought it back up to me, and it was because I'd kind of forgotten about it. But he was saying that the first year was his, and they had like dirt. It was good, and then the next year, the promoter brought in somebody else's ramp, and it was kind of sketchy, and we didn't get a lot of practice for whatever reason.
I think
and it was on that field down there in DeLand that they shot the Water Boy on.
Yep.
With Handler. So it was all grass on this football field, and we didn't jump until we jumped a little bit for practice, and then we jumped again at dusk. And by then the grass had gotten a little bit wet. And I do remember, like, I think I hit the thing one time. I landed, just ate shit, washed the front end out in the slick grass, took out a speaker box. Was like, yeah, whatever, I'm done with that. The first year was good, and it was a good show. The second year when they had sketchy ramps, those were a thing for a minute.
He had his own ramps built. The first year he used our ramps or something. And the second I was there for the first one. I was there with Travis and helped carry all the plywood onto the field and put the dirt down and everything. And then the second year, he had his own ramps built, and he had them painted that day. And they were still like wet. The one was wet when they brought it in. Do you remember?
I do. That's why we didn't get the practice.
Exactly.
Like that. And then when the grass got wet, it was like all bets are off. Like this just got stupid.
Do you remember Thorny? He went to hit it, and he jumped off of the side of the ramp, and his back wheel slid up it, and he just got body slammed and bounced off of the dirt. And then they had somebody come in with sanders, and they sanded I was like, this paint is slick as shit. Like, so they came in with sanders, and they sanded the whole like belt sanders or something, and they sanded the whole face, the whole thing down. And then we Thorny was putting new bars on his bike because he bent them, and then Jonesy hit it, and Thorny was mad. He was like, and then Thorny hit it second anyway, and he was like, I still would have been first if I didn't have to change my bars. Like, settle down, dude.
It wasn't a contest. It was just a show.
That's when I learned not to follow Jonesy off of any jumps. Because he hit that thing in practice at one of those DeLand ones. He's like, ba, 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 ba. So I'm like, oh, fuck, we got to fucking juice it. No, I landed like 15 feet past any bit of landing at all. Listening to Jones. And then Pastor was at the one. Remember, and he overjumped and then went straight into the stage and like blew the CDI out on his bike because it was like right behind his number plate, and that was it. He made one jump in the whole thing.
Yep.
And then we went to Razzles.
And then we went to Razzles. We're over it. Let's get out of here. Let's have some fun. That's how we did it. We had a lot of fun back then.
It was a good time. I remember we went to Hooters. I know for sure me and Jonesy were there, and we run into McGrath's dad, and we're talking to his dad, and Mike's like, he does freestyle too. And he goes, what's your name? And I told him, and he goes, I never heard of you. Or how come I haven't heard of you? And I was like, I guess I'm not that good. And he's just, I was like, this
That's
is
a tough crowd there.
yeah. And that's McGrath's dad. What the fuck am I going to say to the guy? I'm just like, oh, well.
MC, yeah, like he's definitely, I mean, you're not.
I'm not saying shit.
That's a tough. Yeah. How you going to impress him?
Yeah. That's a tough sell. That's
Hey, dude, I do freestyle. Hey, dude, my kid invented a knack-knack.
Yeah.
And won 73 Supercrosses and, yeah.
8 championships, Supercross championships.
8 championships. What's your name again, kid? Yeah. Yeah, he didn't. He's hard to impress him.
He was pretty cool, though. And
He's real cool. Jack McGrath's a great guy.
Yeah.
So is Jeremy. He's a great dude, too. He's real humble. And he was riding for Yamaha when I was, and I went overseas with him a couple times, and he's a super nice guy.
Yeah. I met him once. I got a friend that's good friends with him, and he's like, have you ever met McGrath? And I was like, no. And then he took me over, and we had like a 5-minute conversation, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to not be intimidated when you're standing next to the king.
Yeah.
And he's real cool. He's
Yeah.
laid back, and he'll talk to you just like a normal person. But, yeah, it's hard to say all the right stuff sometimes.
I told him, I was like, listen, I said, you're the man. He goes, I appreciate that. And I'm like, seriously, if you're my age and grew up watching Supercross, you're the friggin' man. Like, there's no way around it. Nobody can say anything else.
With this.
Yeah, look at this guy.
Yeah.
Got a collection of McGrath helmets behind him.
Broke them
on
all.
his wall.
Nice.
All right, dude. We'll let you go. We did the hour and a half. Well, I guess it's like 15, but that's fine. Hour and 15. You need to get back to your all-day IPAs, it looks like.
I was trying to be good.
Well, now you
I
can...
actually grow some hops here, and I've got a good IPA that I made with all my hops.
Why don't you make like a freestyle beer or something like that? Just call it like FMX beer. Or...
Free rider.
There you go.
I could.
Yeah.
Well, you guys will have to come and test it.
All right.
We got to plan something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trip out of it. Maybe we'll do a illegal quarantine ride off the books.
Well, it'll be...
Yeah, we could do that. We could do a beer. We could sit 6 feet apart and taste some beers and
I'll be like, leave that on that table. I'm going to walk over to it next. Yeah, that actually sounds really fun. Maybe a ride day or something out there, like a 2 Wheels and TV Land ride day or something.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely keep in touch. I'll hit you up on Messenger and get your number and shit. That way we don't got to go through stupid Facebook. And definitely this summer, once we're released from our cages, then we'll come out there for sure.
All right. Yep.
But thanks for coming on. I know whatever scheduling it is what it is. Sometimes you're just busy. So, but
thanks for having me. Yeah, I apologize that I was busy here the past couple of months, but now nobody's doing anything. So anytime you guys want to.
Hey, actually, we've been watching old events. So let me go through and watch, and we'll find some old events that you're on, and then maybe we'll set it up where you can watch with us, because I always like to have people that were at the event or rode it or something when we do like old school companions. That way, you get more insight from somebody that was there versus us just sitting here watching the thing.
Yeah, sure. That'd be cool. That'd be fun to look back at some of those. I mean, they definitely feel like a lifetime ago, but I remember a lot of them like they were yesterday. The gravity games, some of those big dirt courses were they're still fresh in my mind. But that was there were some interesting things, with guys like Twitch and Scummy, Colin Morrison. They were like 17 at the time,
Yeah.
and very talented, but
Out of control.
The level of care that they were bringing to to their attitudes was it was fun to watch, to say the least.
That's the thing.
But,
you were around during an era and like at all these big contests during an era that everybody still looks back at, and is very fond of because, it was the inception and there was a lot of excitement. And like you said, every event there was almost a new trick.
And hardly anybody took any of that serious.
And some people made shit up in their runs.
And during from when we unloaded bikes until, the cameras were rolling and what they cut for TV was, it probably looked a little more professional than it really was.
For sure. Everybody's soft now. They're gnarly, but they're soft at the same time. Actually, some of the Australians are not. I do have to say
they're
that.
not. They can
hang. They hang. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. We were. I mean,
we also had to do 5 tricks. It was a different thing.
Yeah, it was different.
Yeah, I did seat grab Indian air and a pendulum and you know what I mean, a lazy boy, and that was it.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna sign off of the internets. And then everybody, thank you for listening.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll see you Friday. We have the Fresno Smooth viewing with Jeff Emig, Seth, Bubba, Adam Barker, and I just added Jerry Bernardo.
Oh, really? That's going to be awesome.
So, everybody try and check in for that. So. Sign off of the internet.
I see behind the scenes.
There we go. No, that's it. It's done. It's going to try and start again because I hit it too many times.
Dude,